Hello, my friends! So today we are going to learn about the body, specifically the bones today. So let's just quickly go through the body and the regions of the body. We have the head, your cheeks, your jaw, your neck, your shoulders, your collarbones, your chest, your abdomen, arms. You have your lower abdomen, right here, lower. Your thighs, right? Thighs. Your shins, which is in the front of your foot. Your calf, which is on the back. Your ankle and your foot. Okay? So, we are going to go through the bones. When you're born, you have 300 bones. But as you get older, by the time you're 25 years old, you only have 206 bones. Because as you get older, you have bones that fuse together, that come together as one. So you'll have two little bones and they'll grow together as one bone. So you go from 300 bones to 206 bones. The bones make up the skeletal system. Your bones, we have bones, so it supports us. It protects our insides. So if you didn't have bones, we would just be floating around like jellyfish, right? And the bones protect our organs that we really need. Like our bones protect our heart. Our bones protect our lungs. Our bones protect our brain. So these very important things that we need in our body, our bones give it structure to protect from those bumps and when you fall. We will start at the top. At the top is the skull, but in medical terms you call it the cranium. So you have your cranium that protects your brain. It acts like a helmet for your brain. Next, we have the mandible, which is the jawbone. Right? Next, we have a clavicle. Clavicle. So they typically call this a collarbone, but in medical terms, it's called a clavicle. Your clavicle goes right here. And an interesting thing about the clavicle, it is the only bone that is horizontal. So every other bone goes up and down, right? Because we are tall, we go up and down. The clavicle is from left to right. It's the only bone that goes from left to right. Okay? Next, I will teach you about the spine. So the spine is divided into lots of different bones called vertebrae. And the spine goes from the bottom of your head, so your neck goes down, goes all the way down until your tailbone at the bottom. It's divided into regions. So in your neck, you have 7 cervical vertebrae. Cervical. Next, you have thoracic, which is in the middle. You have 12 thoracic vertebrae. Then you have 5 lumbar, which is in the lower spine, lumbar. 5 lumbar vertebrae. Then, as you get lower, you have 5 sacrum, but those are fused together. Then at the very bottom, you have something called a coccyx, and that is called your tailbone. A good way to remember this of your vertebrae, 7 cervicals. So you wake up and you eat breakfast at 7. So 7 in your neck, 7 cervical vertebrae. You eat breakfast at 7. Then 12 thoracic. You eat lunch at 12 thoracic vertebrae. And then you eat dinner at 5. You have 5 lumbar vertebrae. Okay? In the spine, it protects something called the spinal cord. And the spinal cord is a passageway. Think of it as a messenger passageway that sends messages from the brain all the way down to the body saying, move your arm, move your hand, move your big toe. All the way down, it's sending messages to do things for your body, but it's also receiving messages back up. So say you stub your toe, there's a message that tells your brain that you stubbed your toe, and that's going up the spinal cord, this messenger highway. And these messages go at about 225 miles per hour. That's faster than a race car. Okay, so that's your spinal cord. Next, let's go with your scapula. Scapula is in the back. That's the shoulder blade in the back. You have two of those, so I placed it right here. It's on the back. Okay. Next, let's move my spine so you can see the ribs. We'll put it back after. We have ribs. Ribs are very, very important because they protect the heart and the lungs. And your heart is very important because that pumps blood all throughout the body. And your lungs are very, very important because it helps you breathe. So if you didn't have blood and if you didn't have the ability to breathe, you wouldn't be alive. So that's why our ribs are very important to protect this very important region of our body. Okay, so ribs come in pairs. You have 12 pairs of ribs. Okay, pair, they go together. And in this part is called the sternum. So you can feel that really hard bone in the front that holds the ribs as they go out. And it really is a nice big bone to protect that chest, protect the heart and protect the lungs. Okay, we'll put our spine back. Next, we have humerus. This goes at the upper arm. That you often, if you bump your elbow, they call that the funny bone, and it really, really hurts. That's part of your humerus. And humerus means funny, right? Okay. Next, you have your radius and ulna. Radius and ulna. Okay? So those are on your forearm. And think of it, a way to remember is ulna is on your pinky side. So on that, let's see, on your pinky side, on the lower side, that is your ulna. On your thumb side is that radius. Okay, radius and ulna. Next, we have the bones of the hand. Okay, there are 27 bones in the hand, but the main ones we'll go through are the carpals. Carpals. Okay, those are the bones in your wrist. Move your carpals. Okay. Then you have metacarpals, which are the bones in the top of the hand. Okay, metacarpals. Metacarpals. Okay, next, these are funny, phalanges. Your fingers. Move your phalanges. Can you say it? Phalanges. Okay, move your phalanges. So those are carpals in your wrist, metacarpals, and phalanges. Phalanges. Okay. Next, we have the pelvis. The pelvis supports the spine, and it also is very protective of our internal organs, like our digestive system, our bladder, what holds our urine and pee. It helps protect that so that doesn't get injured. So that's your pelvis. Okay? Next, femur. Okay, this is the biggest and longest and strongest bone in the body, right? Because that's taking all the weight of your body. And it attaches to the pelvis to make up the hip, right? We can move our legs all around. That's the hip. That's the femur. Next, our patella. Patella. That is our kneecap. So you can take your knee, and you know that funny bone that moves when you have your leg straight, and you can just move it and wiggle it? That's called your patella. Patella. Okay? That's your kneecap. Next, you have two bones on the lower leg. The tibia, and fibula. Okay? The tibia is the larger bone on the inside. The tibia is on the inside of the leg. The fibula is on the outside of the leg. Okay? Those help support. So remember, tibia bigger, fibula smaller. Tibia is on the inside, fibula is on the outside. Okay? Next, almost done with the major bones to learn today. Just like the wrist and the hands and the fingers, our ankle and foot and toes are similar. So you have tarsals. So in the hand, it was carpals with a C. This is, your ankle is made up of bones called tarsals. And the way to remember that they're tarsals versus carpals is remember T for toes, okay? Tarsals are the bones in your ankle. Then, similar to those hand bones, you have metatarsals. Remember that T for toes, okay? So those are the bones in the foot. And then, just like our fingers, remember our phalanges. So the toes are also called phalanges. So I'm waving to you with my phalanges. Phalanges. Okay? You have 26 bones in each foot. So there's a lot of bones in the foot. There are many joints in your body. So a joint is where two bones meet. So your elbow joint, your shoulder joint. You have more than 100 joints, right? And where two bones meet. The biggest joint in your body is your knee joint, okay? That's a knee joint. And the knee joint, they call it a hinge joint. So think of a door hinge. It opens and closes, opens and closes. That is what your knee is doing. It's opening and closing, just like a hinge of a door. Okay, that is the largest joint in the body, the knee. Okay, and then last but not least, to have strong bones, we want to have a good, healthy diet. To have strong bones, we like to eat calcium. So in calcium-rich foods are like milk and dairy, cheese, beans and nuts, and leafy green vegetables. And when you eat dairy, to increase your when you eat calcium, to increase your calcium absorption, oftentimes you can eat vitamin D foods to really help your body absorb as much calcium as possible. Vitamin D foods would be like salmon and tuna and eggs and mushrooms, okay? So calcium and vitamin D, when you eat them together, it makes for the best absorption for your body to take in those good, healthy foods. Okay, and then to make strong bones, we want to exercise because we're strengthening our bones, and when we're running, we're putting pressure and putting gravity on those bones to really strengthen those bones. So we want good diet, good exercise, and then remembering to always wear a helmet and wear your protective gear, okay? So our cranium protects our brain, but if it really gets shooken up without a helmet, that's very bad. So we want to even protect our head with more protection of that helmet. Maybe you want to wear your elbow pads when you're skateboarding. Maybe you want to wear your knee pads. So we really protect our bones as much as possible, and we protect our body as much as possible so we're happy and healthy. Okay, so I hope we learned a little bit today. This is your skeletal system. Okay, bye.